Welcome to Art by Rick. I'm Rick. I'm starting today's show from my desk because I wanted to have a little bit of a chat to explain what today's show is all about. It has a very provocative title. The title of this show is called Naked Painting. Now, let me start to explain that before there's any preconceived notions here. The painting we're going to do today is going to be naked or nude. No, I'm not going to take my clothes off, and no, I'm not going to be painting a nude model. This is a different type of presentation. Now, naked or nude, the two words are kind of interchangeable, but when you think of naked or nakedness, it's usually defined as being without, or if we're talking about a human being, we're talking about without clothes, right? It's removing the cover or removing covers, thus leaving something naked. Nude, on the other hand, can mean the same thing, only from an artistic point of view. Nude can point out the way that you're viewing something. In other words, you're viewing it without any barriers between what you're seeing and whatever it is that's the subject. I printed out a couple of definitions, so I'm going to just read these definitions to you. So, excuse my glasses. Naked versus nude, what's the difference? Naked and nude are often used interchangeably to describe someone who is not wearing any clothes. However, there is a subtle difference between these two terms. Naked typically refers to a state of being without clothing, while nude can also imply a sense of vulnerability and exposure. Being naked simply means being without clothes, or clothes, or being uncovered, while nude can carry a connotation of being in a state of undress that is more revealing or more intimate. Ultimately, both words convey a sense of being unclothed or uncovered, but nude can carry a slight more nuanced or artistic implication. This painting that I'm going to do today is a naked painting. Now, as I said, I'm not painting somebody who's nude or naked, and I myself am not going to be nude or naked. The painting itself is going to be naked. This is super simple to do. The idea is to play with contrasts. This is something that you would do. Let's say, for instance, you have a very dark area in your home, a dark wall, that no matter what you seem to put on that wall or how you try to light it, it never seems to be just right. This is a way of doing something that you can hang on the wall that will look nice, and contrasting to that color will stand out and draw the eye to it. It's a naked painting, and there is a technique to do this. Now, I use a lot of blacks and I use a lot of whites. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some white paint and a canvas, and I'm going to create this naked painting. So let's head over to my studio. I'll show you my setup, and then we'll go ahead and we'll paint. Okay, we're over here at my studio, the Art by Rick studio, and today we're going to do a naked painting. Now, as I previously explained, this is a very simple canvas painting that you can do that has a specific purpose. The purpose of this painting is to have something that is contrasting to a background that it's hung on. Visually, it's very, very plain, blank if you want to call it that. It's a nude painting. It's naked. The idea, though, is to be able to reflect light, allow the viewer to draw their eye to it, and to lighten up something that is dark. So I'm going to use some white paint on a 16 by 20 canvas. Very simple technique. and we'll see how it turns out. And I'll show you kind of how I do this, because if anyone's ever done any painting out there, you know when you're painting a like color over a like color, it's pretty difficult to see what you're doing. For anybody that has a home or an apartment, if you freshened up a wall, you know, where you're putting new paint, same color paint over the old paint, if you walk away, sometimes you come back and you can't figure out where you ended and where to start, and you might end up missing spots. So there's a way that I do this, playing with the lights in my studio, that allow me to kind of see what I'm doing or where the paint has gone, so that I don't miss any spots. So in order to do this, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my apron on. As you've seen before, when I do this, I hide my apron behind my easel. This is just to protect my sweater. My studio is in a basement level, so it does get a little bit cold, so I always have a sweater on when I'm painting down here. And obviously it would not be conducive to doing anything without clothes, but I'm sorry for the pun. But we're going to do this naked painting. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick out a canvas. The canvas that I'm going to pick out, as I said, is a 16 by 20 canvas. I have one right here. Plain 16 by 20 canvas. This is stretched on a wood frame, and we're going to use this for our subject. Now, the first thing that we need to do, and again, excuse the pun, but I need to undress this canvas. This canvas is wrapped in a very tight plastic cellophane to protect it. So I'm going to break that, and I'm going to take it off. So basically I'm unclothing, I'm stripping the canvas, if you were, to allow the canvas to be uncovered, because this is what I'm going to use. So this is the plastic cover that I'm taking off. So now that is gone, so now I have my blank canvas. Now, usually what I do with a canvas is I seal the canvas with an acrylic gesso. I use acrylic paints, so I would put a sealant on this. I'd seal the canvas with the gesso to allow my paint to get a better adherence to the canvas. But since this is very, very simple and it's all going to be one color, I don't need to seal the canvas. I can leave it naked. I can leave it just the way that it is. So to do this, I'll show you how I set it up on my table, and then we'll begin to paint. All right, for those of you that have watched Art by Rick before, you know that sometimes when I do my my canvas, I'm always considering how it's going to dry. So I've put this canvas on my table. Because I'm doing white on a white canvas, I've covered the table with a black tablecloth. This kind of just gives me that contrast. And you can kind of see how this might look hanging on a wall when it's just white on a black background or a dark background. I've taken the painting and I've put it up on my little Dixie paper cups. The reason why I put it up on the cups, I think I've told you, is because when I paint on this and it's drying, because I do around the edges, I don't want it to stick to the table, so I raise it up. I'm going to use just a standard brush. This is one of my older brushes, and I like this brush because the brush itself, it's a little rough. It's not really smooth. So I don't want to make a smooth painting here. I'm going to paint it very lightly, and I want you to be able to see the canvas or the flaws in the canvas itself when your eye is being directed to it. And then, of course, I'm going to use some plain white acrylic paint. So I'm going to take this paint, and I'm going to basically just put it here onto a plate. And I'm going to use kind of a lot of this paint, so I'm just going to smear it on here. One of the other things that I need, excuse me for walking off camera here a little bit, is my paper towel. So I have some paper towel here. Because once in a while I get splattered, see? I could wear gloves when I do this, but you know, I'm one of these people that like to get my hands dirty, so there you go as far as that's concerned. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I have not put any kind of sealant on this canvas. Instead, I'm just going to apply my acrylic paint directly to the canvas itself. So rather than going in linear lines, you know, going back and forth, remember I did a painting on a previous show and I called it peaceful painting, where I'm just kind of smoothing back and forth and nice and simple. This here, I'm just going to apply the paint to the canvas. So I'll start in the upper corner here, and I'm basically just going to kind of go back and forth. And what I'm trying to do is I'm just covering my canvas in the paint. And it's very hard to see on camera, but basically what's happening here is the paintbrush itself is giving me the character of this naked painting. It's giving me some small, teeny little lines that you can barely see, but it's the paintbrush dragging through the paint on the canvas. So instead of going straight back and forth, I'm kind of, you know, just, I don't know, going back and forth different directions on the canvas itself to give it a little character. Now, it's white on white, so doing white on white, it gets very difficult to see what you're doing. And I'm pretty well lit up here. There's a light directly above my head, and that light shining down on the canvas really highlights the paint, especially when it's going on wet, where I can see the painted part of the canvas to the part that's not painted. So I kind of know where I am. So if by chance I walked away from this, I could come back and know exactly where to start painting again without having a big gap in the painting itself. So again, I'm kind of going, you know, just covering the canvas back and forth, and I need a little bit more white paint. So I'll squirt some more paint onto my paint thing here. I use paper plates rather than a painting board or a paint palette. That's basically because I'm lazy when it comes to cleanup. I just want to be able to throw it away. So again, I'm just kind of going back and forth. And I don't want to go too thick on this, but if I do put the paint on a little bit thicker, it does allow it to make some lines with the brush. So again, you're just kind of painting on the canvas. And I'm going back and forth, just covering this canvas with the white. Now again, this is a naked painting. So the star here is the paint itself on a plain canvas that it's not been sealed, it's unsealed. It's just acrylic paint on the canvas, and I'm allowing myself to go in different directions with the brush to give that paint some lines or some characters, so that when you're looking at it, it almost, I'm hesitant to say it has a textured type feeling to it. Maybe it does, but again, you can't really tell because this painting is a naked painting. So I think I'll add just a little bit more white on here. Make sure I get good full coverage. I always seal the edges of the canvas. There's different philosophies as far as sealing the end of the canvas is concerned. I like to have a nice finished look when I'm looking at a canvas from the side. So I'll put paint on the sides of the canvas just to kind of, seal it up a little bit. So again, this is all I'm doing, is I'm just painting the edges of the canvas itself. again, because this is white on white, it gets really challenging to see what you're doing. Because again, it's the white canvas on the white thing. This is why I'm doing it on a contrasting table cover, so I could kind of see what I'm doing and where I'm going here with that. All right, now we'll do a little bit on the back end here. Okay, so now I'm just doing, again, lines, kind of a helter-skelter direction. So when you look at this, you're going to see the lines made by the brush kind of intertwining into each other, kind of making it an easy painting to look at. Now, I know, there's all kinds of schools of thought here, folks. This is a naked painting. This is the painting. I mean, here you go. It's a white canvas with white paint on it. I've applied the paint with no sealant on the canvas. I've just done the plain white paint. And the idea is for this to hang on a contrasting wall. And one of the things that you can do that look really, really nice is you can do matching canvases. So say I did 3 of this canvas, 1, 2, 3, and put them on the wall. It would give a play off of each canvas or each light. Now, can you do different colors? Sure you can. But remember, the idea here is to be contrasting to the wall that you're going to hang it on. So as you just watched, I did a naked painting. Now, again, this is kind of a play on removing or leaving the canvas nude, naked. No sealant, unclothed, just the way it is, putting some plain paint on it. Okay, I did put paint on a plain canvas, so now you can say I did cover it. Whatever, it's a play on words. But it's just white canvas, white paint. There are other things that you can do. Again, the idea is for me to hang this on a contrasting color wall so it really stands out and it allows some light. I've done a couple of other paintings that I'm going to show you here. This is a painting, basically it's just blue. And I played a little bit with different colors of blue. To do just a naked painting, just plain blue, there's nothing on this. I could use this as a base canvas and add something. Maybe could look like the sky, could look like water, can look like a number of different things. Maybe I'll paint a boat on it, or I can do something this way. But again, it's just a naked canvas with just blue paint on it to go on a contrasting wall. Now, I don't have any walls in my house that just plain blue would look well on. I'd have to put something on it to see what the canvas would look like. But I do have darker walls where the white will shine very, very nicely. There's other things that you can do when you're thinking of the naked canvas type idea. You can do an all black canvas to put on a white wall. You can do, some bold colors if you want to put on different neutral type wall. Let's say you have an off-white color or a gray color or tan type color wall, and you want to do contrasting colors on that. It's an interesting technique, and it's really simple. I mean, you just go out and buy yourself a canvas, pick the color paint that's opposite of where you're going to hang it, and apply it in such a way where you're just using a brush to stroke onto the canvas to give it some interesting lines from the paintbrush itself. So when you're looking at it, you're not looking at something that's completely flat or completely smooth. Now, of course, the purpose of this is for the canvas to be naked. So I don't want to put anything on the canvas. Now, as an artist, I like to sign all my works. But of course, if I put my signature on this, it's going to distract from the whole purpose of it being uncovered or being naked. So I want to sign this canvas, but I don't want to sign it on the front. I'll sign it on the back of the canvas. I have a few artist friends, and that's all they do, is that they'll put their signature on the back of the canvas rather than on the front of the canvas, because they believe their signature may distract from whatever the painting is that they're doing. But again, that's a matter of opinion. I always sign my canvases in the direction that I feel I'm going to hang them, because they're abstracts, and usually you can hang it a number of different ways. So I'll sign in the bottom right-hand corner, or sometimes in the bottom left-hand corner, or I'll sign it somewhere within the canvas itself to give me options on how I want to hang it, so that my signature is not, looking upside down or sideways or whatever it might be. But otherwise, just kind of keeping it very, very simple. This type, I will sign it on the back. So again, a very, very simple painting to do. I can't stress enough, this purpose of this painting is to be able to put it on a contrasting wall. So again, this is just a white painting. It's a white canvas. I'll hold it up here so that you can see what it looks like. Now, watch how the light plays on this. See how that kind of reflects the light? So imagine this being hung on a dark wall where you have, you don't have any kind of, you have an indirect light. This is going to help reflect back that light and maybe lighten up that particular corner or that background. So there you go, a naked painting. This has been Art by Rick, and I'm Rick. The next painting that I'm going to do, I think I will just paint something. When I do my shows, I always got to try to decide what I'm going to do and how I'm going to show you that I'm going to do it. I have some ideas for a painting that I want to do next, so I'll formulate those ideas, and then when you join me, I'll show you what that particular project's going to be. Let the artist in you come through. Go buy some canvas, go buy some paint. Paint, express, enjoy yourself. I'll see you next time.
When we think of an iconic New England town green, we think of the place where people got together and maybe heard some music, heard someone give a speech, maybe get an award. Times have changed, but the digital town green still brings all those stories, all those voices back to a central location. Nutmeg TV has been providing community television for over 30 years. We provide great facilities and training and equipment to allow anyone to come in and produce TV programming for the community.
Whether you're a college student looking to get into this industry or a senior citizen looking to learn a new skill set, we've made our equipment accessible to anybody.
Nutmeg TV is a family, and we embrace diversity, and we work with folks from all walks of life. And it's our job to make these studios available for anyone to use. We educate folks in how to do TV production, podcasting, etc., and so they can go on to other careers in the TV business. Nutmeg TV is really blessed to have a great group of folks who work here. We have a culture at Nutmeg TV that is set from the moment you walk in the door for positivity all day long. Each and every day, we are affecting the community in which we live. We needed some studio upgrades, and we were able to get a grant with the state of Connecticut, but we needed that extra bit of cash in order to get over the hump. As you know, technology is very costly, and we needed to do that. And Ion Bank believed in us. They believed in us, they believed in the project. They came down, they took a look at what we needed, and they said, you know what, we can help get you the rest of the way. As a result of Ion Bank's financial help, we've been able to help others move on in a field that's difficult to get experience in. It's very important when you're a business that works in the community and for the community that you're working with partners who understand who you are. And Ion Bank does that. They walk with us every day. Community is important, and Ion gets community, and they get Nutmeg TV. It's community banking at its best.
Sometimes life just happens. Don't worry. Farmington Motorsports will get you back on the road and at a fair price. From towing to tires, emissions to transmissions.
Our ASC certified techs do it all.
Farmington Motorsports is a family-run business. We're a Napa Auto Center and AAA approved. We work on all makes and models from preventative maintenance to major repairs.
And every repair is backed by our 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty.
When life happens to you, don't worry. Farmington Motorsports.